eerie creaking. Small saplings, none of more than 5 years' growth, they spoke of a land too long without a lord, a land whose folk feared to bring their herds to graze such a lonely place. As Lady of Elmet, she would change that. Wilfram called an order for them to spread out, and one of the striplings made a cheerful reply, still cheerful despite the cold, still proud of his new spear. She glanced at her hound and raised an eyebrow. Without moving his hand from where it rested near his sword hilt, he gave her the one-shouldered Yesith shrug. Here was as good a place as any. She motioned them ahead. One of them turned to look back, wondering if she would attack from behind. Bairn, light-hearted and eager, always ready to burst into song. Well, she would change that too. Over the rise, out of sight, a peewit's call rose and fell and rose again, fading into the distance. A gust of wind lifted Signet's mane, and the mare turned to give Hild a mild look. Hild patted her neck. I know. Too cold to sit out here and think. Time to begin. She secured her staff and gathered the reins, watching a throstle's brisk wing beat as it climbed up and up, south and east. It was cold out for such a bird. They usually... The world snapped into enamel-bright clarity, every grass blade sharp. Not a throstle, a pigeon hawk, not flying low after the tasty peewit, but rising out of danger. She kicked Signet into a run and whistled the liquid trill of a blackbird she had trained her hounds to recognize. Wilfram turned, sword already half drawn, and she pointed at her eyes then with a chopping knife hand, south and west. Go! And to the youngsters, gaping as Wilfram's horse disappeared over the rise, the exaggerated fist clutch and pull of hold. For a wonder they did, and then she was among them, towering over them. Spears! Cuthred and ever-eager Bairn already had theirs halfway out. The others were hauling awkwardly, excited that the challenge was begun. This is no trial. Her voice was harsh. South of the rise, someone comes. Nothing hunted a pigeon hawk on its own moor except people. But it was the wrong time of year for drovers, and any shepherd's dog would have barked. We are the only blades between the Vil and those who would do our folk harm. Bairn's grin faltered. She nodded. Today, you're spearmen of Elmet, in truth. The stripling swallowed, stiff and serious. Only one was dangerously pale. Oh, for the rest of her hounds now. Follow my lead. She led them uphill, but at a slant, on a track that would keep them below the skyline, to a gap between the boulders just below the top. At their backs, the wind was turning northwest. When the clouds dropped their burden, she doubted it would be rain. No sign of Wilfram. Keep them busy. Check your mounts, she said, and watched as they laid their palms on the ribs to feel their breathing, tugged at the girths, and tested the bits as she had shown them. Spears. They held them out for inspection, still new and unblemished ash shafts, gripped tightly in still new and unblemished hands. Bucklers. The small round shields were best for mounted work, and it would be a long time, if ever, before these bare-faced boys were ready for the shield wall. She hefted her staff, bound with iron at each end, and longer than most men were tall, and loosened her slaughter-sacks in its sheath. Signet knew that sound. Her ears pricked forward, and the great ribs between Hild's knees moved faster. Hoofbeats, coming at a run. Wilfram. He skidded to a halt. 1/2 a mile, he said, from the west at a walk, 8. Bandits? Good mounts, good blades. Not bandits. But no banners, no colours. Men who did not want to be known. Gold? Not much.